Are you struggling with your copper foil edges constantly splitting on your stained glass? Well, don't worry, your stained glass fairy godmother is here, and I'm going to show you 2 different ways in this video to avoid it, one of which being don't do it in the first place. So let's say you've gone in, you've tried every trick, you cannot get your foil to stop splitting. I'm going to show you how to patch it in a quick and seamless way. So I'm going to grab a piece of copper foil, I'm going to cut it in half because we want this to be as thin as possible. The less bulk we add to the edge of our glass, the better. If we go ahead and go in with a full piece of copper foil to patch this piece, it is going to add so much bulk where it is inevitably going to affect the pattern. So if you want to pre-trim a few different pieces, say you have 5 splits in your foil, you can go ahead and cut 5 small pieces of foil to patch them all, or you can just hold the foil in your hand and kind of rip it with your tweezers as you go like I do. And as you can see, all I'm doing is just laying that copper foil patch right on top of our split foil, making it as seamless as I possibly can. You want to line up your edges as best you can. You want this to be essentially invisible. So we're just going to finish up putting on all of our patches, covering up every split in all of our foil. Then we're going to pick up our piece of glass and burnish this thing to oblivion. You guys, you want this to be as smooth as possible. You do not want these patches to affect your pattern and affect how well your pieces of glass sit together. So don't stop burnishing. You want it to be as smooth as possible. And in the end, it'll look just like this, virtually undetectable. You cannot tell that I had to go in here and patch this copper foil. Now, let's move on to actually putting on copper foil and not letting it split in the first place. So it doesn't matter if you're using an actual FID, an actual burnishing tool, or if you're like me and you use a wooden paintbrush. I like a wooden old paintbrush because it's flexible, it's wood, it's got a little bit of give. It just works well for me. It's something else you don't have to buy. So the key here is most likely you're moving too fast. If your copper foil is splitting, you are either moving too quick, it is a little bit too cold, or your copper foil is old. But the most likely culprit is because you are moving too fast. You are not giving your copper foil enough time to stretch out over this indented curve. So because we're trying to force this foil to essentially split and stretch out over an indented curve, you've got to give it time to actually do that. You need to give it time to stretch. So I am just slowly working my burnishing tool back and forth across all of the edge of the piece of glass here and giving this foil time to stretch out. If you go in to burnish a concave curve like this and you immediately push it down towards the center, it is inevitable that that foil is going to split. And different foils act differently. I find that black-based copper foils are just a little bit more forgiving and they stretch a little bit easier. But just take your time, slowly rock your way back and forth on each edge until you've got it pushed all the way down. And I promise you, you will not have a single split in your copper foil. And again, you guys, practice makes perfect. I've been doing this for a long time, and the only way to get better is practice. As soon as it clicks in your head, you'll never split a piece of foil again.